It is Ryan Partial alongside Ryan Cordial. Welcome to another episode of the Ryan and Ryan Show. Ryan Cordial, how are you on this blistering cold Friday morning?
I am fantastic. I love the cold. Absolutely. I mean, I get up in the morning. This is what I want to see.
So
Fantastic.
when you exited outside this morning, you were happy to see this cold?
Oh, yeah. And I didn't have to defrost my windshield, so it was even better.
Hey, why not? So are you more happy about the cold or the fact that college basketball in the capital region is returning tonight?
It's a close one, but I'm going to go with the college basketball.
You're going with college basketball?
Oh, yeah.
All right, Ryan, what games are going on tonight?
Well, tonight we've got UAlbany is playing Iona.
So UAlbany is playing Iona, and that's a home game.
That's a home game for them.
So that's tonight at 7. So let's dive right into that game. So we have Iona at UAlbany. So this is the first game of the year for, obviously, both teams playing, because this is opening night. This is Friday, November 10th, the opening night for college basketball. The game is played at the Cefcu Arena, and it can be seen on ESPN3. Ryan Cordial, what is your thoughts on UAlbany for not only tonight, but this year?
I think they're going to have a good season. They've got a lot of people that are returning. You know, the returning players from last year that did fairly well.
Yeah, I mean, they've got two great guards, now both juniors, and Joe Cremo and David Nichols. Nichols, I'm seeing right now, averaged 17.9 points per game. Cremo, 15.8. That's a good backcourt, and I know they were picked to the all-conference first team, so expect some big things out of them in the backcourt.
I think Joe Cremo is going to be a vital player for UAlbany this year. He's been a very good player. He was really good previous years. I really think he's going to be.
Do you remember what high school he went to?
I do not.
He's a local kid.
I know he's local. I just can't remember.
He went to Scotia Glenville. He went to Scotia.
Wow.
Yeah, he brought them to, I believe, 2 state championship games. I think they won one because they went on to the Federation. The other one they might have lost. But I know they went to at least 2 state championship games. This kid can play. I remember I went to one game last year, and after the game, they lost by a few points. I forget who they were playing. Might have been Vermont, who won the America East last year. And I remember it was after the game, I was hanging around because I knew one of the players who now graduated, and Cremo came out of the locker room, headphones on after the game, and just went in and got a workout in. It was just like at 10 o'clock at night. He just played a full game, probably played 38 minutes, and he was in there working out afterwards.
That is dedication, and it's one of the things I love about him.
I mean, that's also the one thing I love about, athletes from this area. I feel like the upstate New York area, if you get some good athletes, they're some of the hardest working athletes. They really are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You see the work that they put in, and it shows with the results that these teams have had over the past several years that have been, incredible success they've had.
Absolutely. And so UAlbany now, I see on their roster they have a couple more players from the Down Under, from Australia. Will Brown loves getting those Australians.
I know. I remember Peter Hooley was there.
Peter Hooley. And do you remember the Rowley brothers?
The name sounds familiar.
They were some big, strong kids from the Down Under. No, they were some strong kids. Michael Rowley was one of them. And Sam Rowley was the other one. They were some strong, like 6'6", just brute guys that were just going down low and they just get you buckets. So the game is tonight against Iona. Ryan Cordial, do you have any stats for us about Iona?
I do not. Unfortunately, I don't have any stats for Iona.
They were picked number 1 in the MAC.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you know that?
I did not know that.
They were picked number 1 in the MAC.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
I
incredible.
actually was kind of surprised too.
I'm very surprised. I did not.
So obviously, Iona's always had a pretty good team.
Yeah.
I mean, Tim Kluse, their head coach, he's been there for a while. They've always had a pretty reputable program there. They get a bunch of kids from the city area, so I think they like playing in front of that home crowd. But this year, they're projected to be the number 1 team in the MAC, which is kind of surprising because they won the MAC last year against Siena. But this year, they're also projected to be the first team in the MAC. And they lost quite a few players who graduated yet. I mean, Jordan Washington they lost, who was their star big man. John Sevier, Sam Cassell Jr. They lost some good players, and yet they're still picked to finish number 1 in the MAC. And I don't know if you know or not, but UAlbany's picked to finish number 2 in the America East, only behind Vermont, who of course won the America East last year, and they return a lot of players. So Iona picked to finish first in the MAC. UAlbany finished are picked to finish second in the America East. Tonight's gonna be a good game.
It's gonna be an intense matchup. You can definitely tell. I would not be surprised if it's gonna go down to the final seconds.
It really, honestly, could. And both teams have great guards. I mean, the MAC and Iona always reputable guard play. But this year, like you said, with Joe Cremo and David Nichols, those two back at it as juniors now, more experienced. It's gonna be a good game.
Absolutely.
I mean, not only is it going to be a good game, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, too. I mean, a lot of guards means a lot of points, a lot of quick playing. So, after that, we move on now to Siena. They play tonight.
Yes, they do. That is College of Charleston, I believe.
College of Charleston. Charleston, South Carolina?
Yeah, I believe so, yes.
That's the one.
Yes.
So, now tell me, Cordial, you know that they're now the underdog for tonight's game. Did you ever find out what the point spread was?
I did not. I couldn't.
It was double digits, though.
It was double digits.
So they're not even close to being
I want to say
favored in
it's
this
like
game.
somewhere around 12, but I don't quote me on that because I don't know the exact number, but it is double digits.
That's still a pretty hefty amount. So then Siena's at the College of Charleston tonight. It is a 7 o'clock game, their first game of the season as well. Like we had mentioned, they were picked to finish 6th in the MAC. So they're kind of right smack in the middle. There's 11 teams in the MAC. They're picked to finish 6th. And they're playing the College of Charleston tonight. Ryan Cordial, they are a young team. So they do return Jimmy Patsos, head coach. Very animated head coach. Love him to death. Great guy. But he returns for his 5th season. And I see you have some information on that.
Well, I have a bit of an information about Siena and UAlbany.
Okay.
An interesting series every year. This year, the game will take place on Saturday, December 9th. So it's about a month away.
Okay.
Yeah,
we're pretty much exactly a month away.
Yeah, and now Siena leads the series all-time 34-23.
Okay. I didn't realize
UAlbany.
there was that much of a difference.
I didn't either until I just found that out yesterday. And last year, there were some choice words going on with Siena head coach Jimmy Patsos.
What did Jimmy say?
He said, this is the last time we're going there, referring to the Times Union Center where they where the teams...
They went to the set. They went at UAlbany last year.
Or at...
Yes,
Yes.
because
excuse
this
me.
year it's back at the Times Union.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah,
So
you're
what did he
absolutely
say
right.
about the set?
So last year he said, it's the last time we're going there. And Will Brown, he very animated, he was having none of it. No more of that.
This is Will Brown was having none of it?
This is Patsos.
Oh, okay.
And Will Brown responded, show me one other series in the country, a true series where one team continues to go to the other team's building and plays. Our fans, our community, and our people deserve this game.
You know, that's a good point because I believe that was the first time ever that the rival between UAlbany and Siena was at CEFCU.
It was. First time in I don't know
it could
how
have been.
long.
I think it's ever.
Yeah, I don't know how long the series has gone on.
I certainly don't ever recall it being at UAlbany. It's always been at the Times Union Center.
Yeah, and that's what he's saying. He is not happy that, and he is basically saying that we're not going back.
And you know what's funny? They're going back. Oh! Patsos said they're not going
Patsos
back.
said
yeah.
he said we aren't. He said
I was going to say
that's
because the
it.
game is back at the
The
Times
game is
Union
back
this year.
Times Union Center. He is not happy about that, and he definitely there was a war of the words for a little while there. That
and I think what's funny too is that UAlbany beat Siena.
yes, I believe
They
they
beat
did.
him. I'm looking right now. They beat him 81-72. A decent little victory there.
Yeah.
So maybe Patsos was a little frustrated after a little 2-4 start. Sorry. Well, they did go 2-5, but at that point, only 2 wins, 4 losses. At that point, when they played UAlbany, so now he got his way. They're back at the Times Union. Honestly, I went to Siena. You know, I was a manager for the team for 2 seasons. I was a part of the team, and you know, not trying to be one-sided here. I understand why Will Brown wanted it there. It's never been there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's never been at CEFCU, as far as we know. And, it was there. It was a sold-out crowd. But that's the problem. It was a sold-out crowd. And when it's at the Times Union Center, they almost sell that place out.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see when the games are on TV, or if you go to the game, I mean, you go to an average Siena game, they get 5,000-6,000 fans. But you go against UAlbany in the Times Union Center, and there's fans on the upper deck. I mean, it looks like it's like a Justin Timberlake concert, or we're like Roger Waters. How was that?
Oh yeah, that was packed. That was
Exactly.
definitely.
And that's how the matchups are when it's at the Times Union. So that's why I think it's almost a better venue for the game.
solely
because you can get more
you can
fans
get more
in there.
fans. And
Exactly.
that's a big game.
Exactly.
That's-
It gets all of Albany involved.
Oh yeah, the whole not just Albany, it's surrounding areas too. I mean, I've got family members in Schenectady and think that are
Pretty much all of upstate New York.
crazy for this
That
game.
isn't Syracuse.
Yeah.
'Cause
Well,
they bleed
Syracuse
orange.
is on its own little island
They're
of
on their
basketball
orange island.
greatness there. Yeah, the Orange Island. There we go.
Exactly. And so Siena and UAlbany, they're going to play December 9th this year. What I think would be a good idea, actually, just thinking right now, is that why don't they do it like a neutral game where actually UAlbany will have like home jerseys in the home bench and Siena has the away side, but it's just in the Times Union Center.
Maybe you should suggest that.
I think I should. Think it's a good idea?
It would be a good idea at least to try it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not.
Can't guarantee that the coach will be too happy about it. But,
You think he's going to have some more choice words?
I don't know. I mean, he's a nice guy, but I get his point.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I don't. It is true. I mean, they're always going to the Times Union or
Yeah, the Times Union. Yeah,
Center.
you're right.
I still want to call it the Pepsi, so I get mixed up.
You
That
haven't
shows
moved
you.
on yet.
I haven't moved on yet. That's been like over 10 years, I think. I'm an old school guy.
Okay, so speaking of old school guy, then you probably remember that there's been for a long time now, they were seniors at Siena, and Marquise Wright, Javion Oganyemi, Levon Long, and Brett Bisping, who all graduated this year, along with on the bench, Jimmy Merrill. He was also a senior. So those 5 guys, they've graduated. They've been for Siena for, well, Brett 5 years, but the rest 4 years. They're gone, and this program is now turning a new page onto a lot of younger talent. Nico Clarith being the very boisterous young one who's a junior now, but he's going to look to lead the team. He was picked for the MAC All-Second team. He had 33 points last weekend in an exhibition game against Lemoyne. Ready for this one, Ryan Cordial? They lost to Lemoyne. Lemoyne's a Division II school.
Yeah, I know. I got friends that are up there for school, and they are not a known
They're really
basketball
not.
powerhouse, if you want to say that word.
And I think it was a few years ago now. Might have maybe more than a few, probably like 6 or 7 years ago. Do you remember when Lemoyne beat Syracuse in an exhibition game?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do.
Well, they beat Siena this year. But here's the funny thing. That year that Lemoyne beat Syracuse, I believe Syracuse went on to the Final Four, Sweet 16. They went on pretty far in the tournament.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's going to happen with the Saints since they're a young team and they're not as established as as Syracuse, but at least that,
you got to believe.
you got to believe.
You got to have faith.
Exactly. So that will conclude our little preview, I guess you could call it, of tonight's matchups of the local teams. Right now, we're going to transition into
A look. This date in sports history.
this date in sports history. Ryan Cordial, tell us what happened on November 10th in sports history.
All right, I got a few things for you. First off, on this day, 1985, San Diego Chargers running back Lionel James, runs for 345 all-purpose yards, which is the second highest total in NFL history
Wait,
for a
what
single
year is
game.
this?
1985.
In 85, he ran for over 300 all-purpose yards.
345 all-purpose yards.
What was the name?
Lionel James.
Lionel James. Do you know that name?
I had never heard of him.
I've never heard of Lionel James either. And he was with the Chargers?
He was with the Chargers, yes. I
Wow.
don't know as much about the Chargers as I do about most
So
teams.
I'm
honestly.
looking him up right now. Get this. He was born in Albany.
Are you kidding me?
I'm really not joking.
Wow.
Albany, Georgia.
Oh, come on. Come on. You can do that to me. Come on.
Yeah, so he's from Albany, Georgia. Lionel Little Train James. His nickname's the Little Train. He's only 5'6".
Wow.
The guy's 5'6", and he ran for over 300 yards. I'm looking right now. It was an overtime game, and that's probably how he got so many touches.
That would make sense.
But, I mean, the guy, 300 yards? That's pretty incredible.
Well, if you think 300 yards is incredible, you're going to love my next stat.
Let's hear
On
it.
this day, 1996, Dolphins legend Dan Marino becomes the first quarterback to pass for 50,000 yards in his career.
Dan Marino was a
50,000.
tank. So, at this date in history, he finally got the 50,000-yard mark.
Yes.
50,000 yards. What year was this?
This is 1996.
So in 1996, he finally got the 50,000 yards, and he didn't retire until 1999. So this is only when he was 35, and he wound up passing for over 60,000 yards in his career.
I think he's like top 4 all time.
Yeah,
I think it's Peyton Manning and then Brett Favre, and I feel like Marino might be third.
Marino's right there. So he's at 61,000 yards passing, but At age 36. No, sorry. Wait, you said 96?
1996.
Okay, so at age 35, then he passes for the 50,000-yard mark. So at the time, he was number 1 overall for passing yards.
Yes.
Remarkable.
It just stinks that he was on teams that could never win him that championship.
I know.
he
As a
deserved.
Dolphins fan, I know.
Oh.
I know.
On this date in, well, we're going to go back a little bit further now after the 90s. How about 1940?
You know, I don't think either of us were even close to being alive then.
No.
But
on this day,
don't
which makes
discredit,
which
don't
makes it
discredit-
even better because nobody
Exactly.
listening probably was
Exactly.
either. On this day in 1940, the Steelers and the Eagles played in a penalty-free NFL game. The entire game, not
You're
a
joking.
single penalty. I'm not joking. The Steelers won 7-3. That's probably why. Not a lot of
7-3
scoring.
was
Sounds
the
like a
total
baseball
score.
game, but that's probably why there were not many penalties.
7-3
one
was the final
touchdown, one
score.
field goal. Yeah,
And it was a penalty-free game.
penalty-free NFL game.
There was a
1940.
Thursday night game on last night, the Seahawks-Cardinals. Seahawks won. And I think in the first 2 minutes, there was probably already like 4 penalties.
It shows you how the game has changed. They didn't flag you for as much.
They
back
literally
in
just love. I think they just love throwing the
75
flag and getting on TV. The refs.
Oh yeah. Oh, they love to hear their own voice.
Oh, they
They're
love
like,
it.
Yeah.
The one guy was like, he was like pointing on the one. He's like, oh, the offense, the lineman. He had no clue what was going on.
He's like-
but a penalty-free game.
Absolutely.
And who wound up winning that game?
the Steelers won
The
7-3.
Steelers won 7-3 in 1940.
1940. So that was not far. That wasn't too far because I think 1943 they merged to become the Steagles for that one year during World War II.
That's right. Honestly, I just don't understand how there was even a chance that a game could go penalty-free.
Well, they
And
were a
they're
lot
playing
more-
15-minute quarters.
Oh yeah. Well, they were a lot more lenient with certain things, and you got.
Still,
I mean, look
not a
at.
single penalty.
I know.
Where was the game played at? Do you know?
It was. You know, I don't know. I think it was in Philly, but I
Okay.
not entirely.
And they
sure.
lost.
And the Steelers won. Yeah, Philly lost.
Wow.
Steelers won 70. I think it was in Philly.
Either way, no penalties. What else you got for us?
Well, in 1963, Gordie Howe. I don't know if any of us
The
hockey
NHL
fans
player,
out
yeah,
there.
the
Yes,
Detroit
Gordie
Red
Howe.
Wings.
He scored his 554th goal, which made him
554.
the all-time leader in goals scored. That record stood until 1989. I
And who-
believe it was Wayne Gretzky.
Wayne Gretzky who beat that in 1989.
I'm like 99% sure
Yeah,
it was
that makes
Wayne Gretzky.
sense.
And we got one more.
Wow,
for
so
you.
Gordie Howe, 554 goals at that point, and Gordie Howe just passed
just
away.
passed away recently.
About a little over a year ago. It says June 10th, 2016. Canadian hockey player. Wow, 554 goals. Not if not a lot of hockey fans out there, that's remarkable.
It's incredible.
And so, what year was that again that he did that?
That was 1963. So that
1963. He scored. So this is at age 35, like Dan Marino, actually. A little
Ah.
ironic. But he kept going on and playing until age 51 in the
I know,
NHL.
he was incredible.
That's insane. And so do you know how many goals he wound up with at the end?
Was it over 700?
I'm looking right now and I see 786 goals.
Almost 800. Holy cow.
That's a lot of goals.
That's a lot. Well, when you play for that long and you play till you're 50.
Age 51.
51. And how old was he when he started? Like 23 or something?
He was 18 with Detroit when he first started. That's younger than us.
That is unbelievable.
And he went on to 51.
Wow.
That's a lifetime right there. Really, it really is.
This goes to show you why he's in the record books for so many things.
You're right on that one. What else you got?
I got
Anything
one.
else?
I got one more for
This
you.
is the last one.
In 1964, the Detroit Pistons.
Okay, so we're still in Detroit now.
We're still in Detroit.
1964.
1964.
Let's hear it.
They named Dave DeBusschere. I cannot pronounce
Dave
his last.
DeBuschkier.
DeBusschere.
How do you spell that?
DeBusschere. He was named player, but he was also named the coach. At the age of 24, he was a player coach, and he is the youngest coach in NBA history.
24.
Age 24.
That's 2 years away from me.
I know. I'm 21.
He was
so
a player coach at age 24.
Yeah.
Wow.
Youngest coach in NBA history. That's 1964. So that's 53. Yeah, 53 years ago.
53 years ago. Exactly on this day.
Yep.
And he was a player coach in 1964. I'm looking right now. It was his third season in the NBA. He played 79 of the 80 games. What did he bench himself one game? I'm not starting this game. No, this is an executive order. I'm just gonna bench myself. I'm sitting this one out.
Maybe he did really bad in a game, and then he's like, "I'm gonna punish myself to show that there was a mutiny." He was gonna be kicked off the managing. He's like, "I'll just bench myself to calm the fervor." But I thought that was interesting. Age 24, and he's a player coach. You don't see that.
I don't think you ever really see a player coach.
I mean, you never see. I mean, in the day, in baseball, they used to have player managers, but that's like the early 1900s. You don't see that. 1964,
60s even.
That wasn't even that long ago.
The NBA was even established, so this wasn't like it was like the ABA and they were trying to
this
experiment.
is the NBA.
This is the legit NBA.
You don't see that anymore.
And you had a player coach that was 24 years old.
Yeah.
He was probably coaching guys older than us.
I guarantee he was.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. And I'm looking right now. He averaged almost 17 points a game.
Wow.
I wonder. I kind of want to see how they did that year.
That's 1964.
So 1964 team. Let's take a look and see if I can get their overall record here. So was it the 64-65 season?
Well, it was this date in 1964, which would probably
I'm looking through right now. It's
64.
not giving me an overall record, but I'm seeing a lot of losses, honestly. Maybe he shouldn't have been the player coach. They started off pretty bad. Looks to me they started off like 2-12.
Oof.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
Sounds like the Nets.
Oof. Yeah, that's a good point. So that wraps up what we have for this day in sports history.
Yep.
Ryan Cordial, those were some phenomenal things you found out. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the Ryan and
Ryan
show. There we go. All right, this is November 10th of Friday, signing off on the Ryan and Ryan show. I'm Ryan Partial.
And I'm Ryan Cordial.
We'll see you next Friday. Enjoy.